So as I said, I'm Lora Dujmovic. I'm with the VPD Cybercrime Unit. I work actually in social media and crime prevention. So a lot of the information that comes to me is from our detectives who are truly the experts in regards to cybercrime. So next screen, please. Val, thanks. So that's just a breakdown of who we are. Actually, the sergeant is now somebody else, but all the detectives are at the bottom there. And we have a crime analyst who also feeds a lot of the information to me for social media. I do Twitter, some Instagram and Facebook, but we're looking to reach out to do a little more. Next screen, please. So we fall under the general investigation section within the VPD. Our mandate, as you can see, is crime prevention. So that's a little bit on my part, mitigation, disruption, and prosecution. I'm sure everybody has a lot of questions on how successful we are, and I'd be happy to answer any questions after. A lot of the information that we have actually is open source intel. So that's everything that you find on the internet, Facebook, social media, LinkedIn. I'll just give you a quick example. One individual was located after a homicide in Vancouver, and we were able to locate him by his email address that he had on LinkedIn, which was kind of fascinating. And I was there in the office when our detectives were working and triangulating on this fellow who was eventually found in the valley. And they were within 200 meters of where this individual was located, and they were able to do that all via computer, which was quite fascinating. Next screen, please. So this is just an example of, I don't know if any of you have seen it, what happens in 1 internet minute, which is kind of mind-boggling if you look at the number of texts and dating sites, and we've got Snapchat and Netflix and Facebook, and it's just 19 million texts are sent within 1 minute, or were sent within 1 minute last year in 2020, which is it's pretty mind-boggling, but it just gives you a snapshot of the magnitude of what goes on the internet. Next slide, please. So if you keep clicking, Val, it just gives us, so yeah, surface web, that's what I would use, like, so Google search engine, social media, all that. And if you keep clicking, Val, we've all heard about the dark web. This is everything else that happens on the world of the internet, which, we keep hearing about these data breaches and whatnot, which is scary even for those of us who work within the section, because we all think we're pretty well versed at securing our passwords and whatnot, but so much information is on the web, and no one really, in essence, is secure from crime happening on the net. And I'm not trying to instill fear; it's just the reality, right? If like, just for instance, medical records, Life Labs was hacked, I think last year, and it's kind of frightening when you think about all the information that's out there, and the vulnerability of all of us. Next screen, please. So yeah, what are cybercrimes? Anything directed at computers or devices, and I've got some examples in a couple slides of that, and I'm sure each and every one of us on this Zoom call have experienced it, whether it's a text with a link, or a phone call from CRA or allegedly CRA. So crimes involving computers or devices, so that can be like cyberbullying, any hate mail, whether it's via text, Facebook, and then of course hacking and online scams, which are huge, just absolutely huge. Next screen, please. So yeah, so phishing is basically the messages that you get, whether it's a work email, a text saying that you've had a compromise with your bank account, click the link. Don't do it. Always confirm with the originating agency is the advice that I have. And again, if I'll give you the information at the end, on Twitter, I'm always providing crime prevention tips. And I try to keep them as simplistic as possible because, you know, not all of us are, I'm certainly not, that technical in terms of what goes on behind a lot of these online computer scams. So, and then telemarketing, I'm sure we've all had them as well. The CRA scam, you know, if you don't pay this and deposit this Bitcoin at this Bitcoin ATM, we're going to come and arrest you. If you haven't heard of it, it's out there and it's still continuing. So that's a list. Romance scams, pretty obvious. Facebook, they'll create a fake account with some stolen photo that they've found on the internet. At any rate, that's the SIM swap. They'll contact your carrier, try to convince them that they are you, and then in essence, all of your cell phone gets shut down and transported over to the fraudster, and then they have access to everything that's on your phone. So kind of scary. Next slide, please. Val, next slide. Thanks. Thanks. So yeah, that's a couple of examples. Netflix, yeah, we've had an issue with your payment. Please click the link. Don't click any links. I think that's a pretty good advice to just adhere to. Don't click any links via text. I had one actually not long ago, a TD Bank one, and I went into the TD Bank because I had a former account there, and they're like, no, it's just disregard. Next screen, please. Next screen. So that's just, yeah, again, look for, the web addresses, the website. Often it's just one letter off or there's spelling mistakes. You have to actually really become hyper vigilant with this stuff. Even when you're dealing with the internet, if it doesn't have the HTTP with the little lock symbol on the corner, you wanna be aware of that. Next screen, please. Hydro was another one that they're targeting, usually small businesses, threatening to shut down the power if they don't pay a certain amount of money. A phone call, your SIN card was used at the border, it's being used in criminal activity. Can you just please give us your SIN number? Whenever somebody asks you for information that they should already have, I would just hang up. I wouldn't even, you can go straight to, government website or Service Canada to confirm if anything is going on with your SIN card. And yeah, bank scams. So next screen, please. So basically what a lot of these fraudsters are working on is these three emotions: hope, fear, altruism. So hope, like, oh, you're the winner of such and such, or fear, if you don't pay this, you will be arrested. Altruism, we've got, even unfortunately during COVID, they have capitalized on that and said, oh, we're sending money to less fortunate countries who are having trouble fighting COVID, or the World Health Organization send money too. So when in doubt, always verify through your Canadian government websites. And I've got a whole bunch of resources at the end. And of course, any questions that anyone has, they can always email me on what legit sites would be and if they're ever concerned about any of them. Next screen, please. Forward, please. Just some pretty basic prevention tips on how to prevent identity theft. Personally, they're saying shredding. I burn a lot. I don't even trust shredding. Mail security. I have a PO box. Unless you have a very secure mailbox at home, it's surprising how many people don't even think that people will go door to door stealing mail, but they do, and anyone within the Vancouver Police knows that. I've got some great websites on how to secure your passwords on computers, and there's checking your credit once a year, always a good idea. You never know if somebody has managed to get a hold of your identity. Checking your credit score through Equifax and TransUnion at least once a year is always a good idea, because you'd be surprised. Some people actually have had some real shocking, just all of their information has been changed, their mailing address, everything, their past employment history. It's quite shocking. Next slide, please. Just some crime prevention tips on updating your computers, backing up in case of, in the event of like a company, if they have ransomware sent and they're saying unless you pay set amount of money, we are taking all of your information. Some people pay it, some companies pay it, some individuals pay it. Other people say, forget it, go ahead. And they just restore from their latest backup, and therefore they don't lose any information. And then of course they work the bug out. Yeah, so safeguard biographical, geographical information. Next screen, please. I'm just not going to go over every single point. So these are some of the internet sites that are fantastic. Get Cyber Safe. There's Canadian Anti-Fraud. There's all sorts of information, and we do a lot of information sharing as well. So if a new trend comes up within the VPD, we obviously let Canadian Anti-Fraud know and Get Cyber Safe. So we're all working on the same wavelength and trying to prevent crime across Canada, because sometimes they'll try something in BC and then it'll surface in Ontario or vice versa. And next screen. This has been really fast, and I'm sorry, but there's my Twitter account, our VPD cybercrime handle. Please follow us. We're always looking to broaden our horizons, and if any information that you want to share with us, if you have any information, please feel free to email me. And the next slide, I think, is my contact information. There we go. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good night.